Welcome to Psychology 1. I hope that by now you should have watched the expectation overview as well as the getting to know you task as a way to set the standard for what this trimester will entail. As we delve into the topic of psychology, what we're going to start with today is actually the essential question of the course. And the goal of why we're looking at this question is there is a subtle undertone to this question throughout the whole trimester. We're not going to overtly say this question, do humans possess free will? But as we look at the biological, scientific, and psychological aspects of the brain, the way that humans think, and the way that your consciousness works, and aspects of psychological disorders, we're going to ask the question of ourselves, is it your choice, or is it something that you have in your genetic makeup? If you've taken Psych 2, which is not required, but we looked at the question of nature versus nurture, this question is kind of the similar idea, but it's really going to the core of what is your brain makeup. And so for the opening activity, to delve into this question a little bit and to set the tone for starting the psychological discussion, what I'm going to ask you to do is to look at two sources to answer the question, do you believe that humans possess free will? Prior to getting into the details of it, though, I want you to answer the question first. What do you think before you learn anything? And then from there, looking at the resources and seeing if your bind actually changes. And so here we go. The essential question, as mentioned, you're going to read an article from Psychology Today and watch a video on YouTube. Both of those will be attached in Classroom. Or if you open this document up that I have in front of you, you can actually click on these links and it'll link to the article and the YouTube clip as well. So either way, you decide how you want to get there. So as defined, free will is the power of acting without the constraint of necessity or fate, the ability to act at one's own discretion. So it's the idea that your determination of life is not based on some genetic makeup or that fate determines the path you're going to take. Instead, it's the ability that humans have for free will that we can think and choose the path that we take. And so what this question is asking is it a scientific? Does nature determine before we even make decisions that it's going to be the decision we make? Or do we actually have a conscious aspect of being in control of ourselves? And so what I want you to do right now for this first question is you need to answer, what do you think? Explain your thought process. I'm not looking for any scientific basis. I just want you to take this definition of free will and come up with an understanding of, do you think we possess it or not? Think of your own life experiences. Think of what you've learned about. Feel free to take this word into Google a little bit and mess around to see what's out there. But let's see what you think. And we're going to see if your answer changes or evolves. I do want a yes or a no. So the best way to defend here is yes or no, because why? And that's what I'm looking for to get started with this. As a reminder, this is our first step into formative and summative work. Next week, we're going to have our first mini summative where we start to learn how to write in psychology. What's nice about psychology writing is it's not as intensive as history or other social studies classes that you've taken. The writing is pretty straightforward. To get ready for that, though, to learn how to describe stuff and apply knowledge that we learn, this is the first step that we're taking. So this is a formative step and a formative grade to get us to that summative we're going to have next week on learning how to write in psychology. Okay, once you have your answer, obviously you should pause and do this, or you can watch the tutorial all the way through and then do it when you're done. You are then going to read an article from Psychology Today called Do We Possess Free Will by Dr. Schwartz. And it's a really interesting article that talks about both what psychologists actually think that we do possess free will and some psychologists that say that we don't. And what I'm going to ask you to do from this article is I'm going to ask you to pull knowledge that you find from the article and actually put it in as bulleted notes for what parts of the article say that we do possess free will. So humans do possess free will, or humans do not possess free will. And I want you to differentiate your notes. They should be specific. So for instance, if you come across a study, like in Harvard, John Searle did this study and found this, that should be put in as a bulleted note for do or do not possess free will. And it's read carefully and decide which side the psychologists are on. And the goal is you're reading this, you're taking in the information, but you're separating what psychologists and what researchers and what scientists have said that we do possess free will. And then you're putting bullet notes in for those that say we do not. And once again, this is bulleted note format. Can I copy and paste in Ms. Barksdale? Yes, to show the differentiation. Where you'll apply it underneath will have to be in your own words. But for the case of this, I don't mind if you just copy and paste stuff in from the article. And then obviously this will expand as you add your notes. Then you're going to watch a 8-minute video. It's from a full series on psychology called Brains on Trial, but you're only going to watch 9 minutes from it. And it's actually a narration of, do humans truly have free will? I will tell you the video definitely biases to one side. So when you're taking the notes on the video, you might find that one of the sides you're not filling in at all, and that's totally fine. But you're going to do the same thing that you did with the article. You're going to mention like the doctor's name, what kind of study they're doing, describe it, and you're going to put it under either humans do possess or do not possess free will. And that will be added to the notes that you collect. Then what I'm going to ask you to do is review the information that you just took. Look at all the notes that you have. Read what the scientists actually said, because let's be honest, probably the first time you did it for skimming, and you put the notes in. Now I want you to actually synthesize and take in what they have to say. And the question I want you to answer down at the bottom, which is going to be graded as a mini summative of Comp 1, I want you to apply the notes that you took, and I want you to tell me, has your original answer evolved based on the evidence presented? So you're going to say, at first, I believe that free will does exist, but now with all of this research that I've come across, I find that it doesn't. For instance, John Searle, blah, 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 and give the study. This shows me that free will does not exist because, so what I'm asking you to do is to apply at least 2 of the facts that you got from the notes and apply with your reasoning to back up the answer that you come up with. So you should almost have an opening sentence, a piece of evidence, and then an analysis to explain that evolution that happened. Now, if your answer has not changed, you still need to defend it. My original answer was this, and it has not changed based on this. Give a fact, and then give an analysis to support that fact accordingly. So even if nothing has changed, I still want a well-developed answer to show me what your thoughts about psychological knowledge that you collected and how it proves whether or not free will actually exists. There is no right or wrong to the answer that you develop. It is all about the interpretation and use of fact. I will clarify to you if you need better support with how to structure this, if you want like a strategy for how to outline it, feel free to email me and I can provide that to you with a quick like little email back of just what would I suggest. And we can also video conference so that you feel confident before turning this in. So this is a goal. Like I said, this is our first step into this trimester. This will be the question that is an underlying question throughout the whole class. I'm not overtly going to keep talking about free will, but I want you to think about when we talk about the way humans look at the world, the way they perceive the world, and whether or not it's actually through their actions and discretion that they make the choices that they make, or whether it's the chemical makeup of their brain that makes them make the decisions that they go forward with. Okay, so this is your first of 2 tasks on the checklist. Remember, there is another one which will also have a tutorial. It'll be the reading and notes on what are neurons. And so any questions you have for this, please let me know. It is due by Friday, April 3rd by midnight. So please make sure to finish this and just type directly in the document. And any questions you have, please email me or contact me before Friday at like 9 o'clock at night. Good luck.